Welcome to Fandom Schmandom, the fandom podcast that covers everything you love and more. I'm Sierra Obermark.
And I am back. Your illustrious host, Sam Williams. And I don't have a giant ego at all. And didn't need a dramatic... But we are back! We are back! We are done with Season 1. Stranger Things is dead and gone, and I never want to hear about it again. Conformity Gate, never gonna happen. But you know what will always be with us, Sierra?
What's
in
that?
Our hearts is Star Wars.
Yeah.
Don't sue us, please. John Williams, don't sue. Anyways, so that's
I'm not
parody.
worried about John Williams. There's some other suing happy people out there.
That's so true. John Williams probably personally doesn't care. Disney, we love you. Don't sue us. Today's episode, we will be bitingly blithering about Star Wars Clone Wars, seasons 4 through most of 7. What I mean by that is this. There is a show coming out in April of 2026, if you happen to be listening to this episode in 2035, called Maul. It's an animated series, and this particular Clone Wars episode, we're focusing a little bit more on the Maul aspects, so anything to do with the Jedi Order, with Order 66 and Sidious's plan, and Maul himself. What that means is that we're not covering so much Anakin, Padme, Obi-Wan, Ahsoka. It's really sort of a bit to do with the clone troopers because of Order 66, a lot to do with sort of the superfluous Jedi stuff on the side, a bit of Yoda's and Dagobah, and then Maul, Ventress, Oppress, all of that shenanigans. So that you guys feel a little bit more prepared for Maul. Will we get to all the other stuff in Clone Wars? Absolutely, but in the specific character episodes. We've got one coming out for Ahsoka, Padme, Obi-Wan, and Anakin. So don't worry, we're going to get to all of that information in the coming weeks.
Well, folks, we officially have a Patreon. There will be a lot more added on there in the coming year, but for now, if you'd like to listen to our show ad-free and /or before anyone else, you special lucky baby duckies, you can pay 500 pennies a month and support this little show. You can do that by heading to patreon.com/CW/fandomschmandom.
And without further ado, we will, as Roger Smith says, dive on in.
Find your donut holes. It's time for our Knives Out category, where we sleuth out which storylines in this whole stinking show are the most vital to pay attention to, given our current focus.
Indeed. We have the arc of the Jedi Krell.
Boo.
You have feelings?
I have many feelings.
You know them to be true?
You do know them to be true. If you don't agree with me, I'm concerned for you. Because he sucks.
He's really quite egotistical, filled with hubris.
Yes.
Has no idea what he's doing. Has no sense of Jedi-ness to him. Is completely unempathetic. Is all about winning the war. To me, he's emblematic of what's wrong with the Jedi, but he is not the main reason why they're terrible. To me,
no.
He is exactly what the Council has allowed to happen. They focused on this war, which is totally against the nature of Jedi, which is to be a part of the light side and to help the Force be in balance by being the protectors and guardians of the light. And instead, they've just sent out all of their Jedi thin, like, what's the Bilbo quote there? Like, too much butter spread over too little bread, or something of that nature. They're just completely all over the galaxy, pretty much in solo or in pairs at times. And they're not able to help each other to refocus on what matters to the Force, to themselves, to their code, and they're just like generals. Here we go. My main strategy is to go and kill this other person, which just seems so outside of what the Jedi Order is supposed to be.
Well, and I also feel like, especially in this case, there's nobody to hold him accountable. Because at least with some of these other Jedi, there's some sort of oversight, but because of the situation where Anakin gets called away and Master Krell has to step in to be in this position, and all of these clones are used to more of a camaraderie with their generals, being able to actually communicate and have ideas, and having a general who thinks of them as people and soldiers, but people, not essentially human versions of droids, because that's how Master Krell is viewing all of them, is just as expendable, as something that is just meant to go send out there, and no big deal if they all die. Oh, well, I have to take this base, and that's what I'm going to do, and if you all die, not just so be it, but good, because you're not worth it. And that's when you see the twist of Krell going from, you guys are expendable, and that's okay, to, you guys are expendable and I'm happy about it.
Yeah.
That is when I just literally sit there just cringing and pulling at my face and just so angry for so long, because he is so horrible and the clones have no recourse.
No recourse.
They have no one to turn to. They have no one to really go to. And I even put what I was watching and I was putting in my notes, and I was going, report him right now. Now is your moment. And it's really rough, because you get also the idea from the clones. Rex and Fives have this conversation where Rex says, we are soldiers. We have a duty to follow orders, and if we must, lay down our lives for victory. And Fives questions that. Do you believe that? Or is it what you were engineered to think? To which Rex responds, I honor my code. That's what I believe. Which I think is very interesting, both from a soldiers following orders, but also having to respect their own personal code. But then also a call to what we'll see in a little bit with Order
Literal
66.
Code. Yeah.
Literal code being programmed. And is that what you're engineered to think? Kind of like an insinuation that there are some things that they actually don't have control over, as much as we want to think of them as individual people, because that's how the show does such a fantastic job of portraying them.
Yeah, and D. Bradley Baker's voice acting for all the different clones and bringing them to life on the show is
amazing,
phenomenal. And I feel like if we're picking an MVP of this season, it's D. Bradley Baker specifically, not necessarily any character, but his ability to voice so many different clones with so many different personalities and so many different intonations is just phenomenal. I will say this. There's a lot of interesting things to be said about the clones, and this arc, and then the next arc that we're doing on Tup, says them effectively, which is like, these are grown beings meant for a war, but they come with all the feelings, all of the passions of a human being, of Jango Fett's code. And you can see all the different variations that Jango could have had and Boba could have had he pursued some different life. You know, we run into clones on this show that are, you know, living with a family. And something that they don't really touch upon too much in this show, which I find fascinating and unethical. I mean, I find the whole process of a clone army unethical at the end of this initial first watch, right? Because the show makes you ask the questions of like, is this right? Did they do the right thing by making a clone army? No, they didn't. Is the answer. You should not manufacture human beings with real emotions in order to... And they even suppress the gene in Jango that makes him rambunctious. right? But ultimately, I think one of the big questions that we should all have is like, why is no one going to war crimes for shortening their lifespan? They get half the amount of time that a normal human would be. And this isn't quite like, okay, well, Yoda's species gets to live for 900 years, but humans are only 100. This is like, they are around their compatriots. Humans are one of the biggest races in this galaxy, and they are actively aware that, first of all, they may be killed within 13 years of being created.
Right.
But also, even if they did live, they can only get to 50 at best, which we will, although you have not yet seen this. We will all see what old clone troopers look like in Rebels.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's also something that's mimicked in another quote from one of the clones. I can't remember exactly who says it, if it's Fives or who, but someday this war is going to end. And then what? We're soldiers. What happens to us then? And I think that that's twofold here, because not only are they soldiers, and that's all they know, and that's all they were made for, and one day the war is going to end, and now what are they supposed to do? They just are let go into the world? Are they going to be exterminated? They don't know. And they don't necessarily know if they even have a purpose outside of whatever this war is. And even if they did, will they live long enough to see it?
Yeah.
And so it's very interesting. And it also is reflected definitely in reality.
Yeah. I think this is when Star Wars is at its best to me, is when it's commenting on current or universal politics. The bringing down of democratic institutions to create a dictator is something that has happened in history. I'm sure it will be attempted more. Hopefully is never successful, but most likely at some point will be successful. And you can see the signs in this prequel trilogy, right? We'll talk a lot about it in our Revenge of the Sith movie. But in this particular moment, they're commenting very bravely, I feel, especially for 2012-ish time is when seasons 4, 5, 6 are coming out, about our very poor care of veterans today, right? There's a lot that can be done for veterans and very little, and funding that continues to get pulled within Congress. And this question of what's going to happen to us then is a question that so many soldiers, so many people in the armed forces can ask. And instead of helping them out like we should, we often are like, all right, cool. Thanks for your service. Bye. And
right.
That's, I mean, there are great, charities out there. There's the VA, which is very helpful for, medical stuff. And so it's not like we do nothing, but we can always do more. And I think that this show is really, really good in making that question hit hard.
And I also, kind of going back to Krell and his role in all of this and his engineering of just the horrible practice of he engineers this whole clone on clone fight, which is genius in a horrible manner. Mm-hmm. He tells each group of clones that the other has been overrun and the enemy's using their armor, and they're on this planet that is dark and dingy and difficult to see, and it's already a chaotic situation, and then they realize they're fighting each other. And when finally caught, Krell says that he's no longer naive enough to be a Jedi.
Ugh. Very Dooku-coded.
Exactly. It's very Dooku-coded. And that as part of the New World Order, he will rule as part of it. And I think that is naive. Because he says he's no longer naive enough to be a Jedi. There's all this other stuff out there, and there's better that he can have, and it's all very materialistic, that he doesn't have to follow this kind of code of ethics anymore, and he can go and do what he wants and be part of this new world order, that he will be part of the ruling class of it. Which, if he actually knew anything about this new world order, he would know he's not getting anywhere near a ruling position. So he's very naive in saying that he's not naive anymore.
He's the worst sort of person to be around, because he's too stupid to realize how stupid he is. And that's so difficult to deal with when those people are in, powerful positions. Cause you're like, oh man, I can't say anything against this, and you're going to be able to boss me around, but man, are you going to get me and yourself in trouble. You just don't know it. And rewatching Clone Wars this time around has made me, sort of full stop, no apologies, agree with Luke Skywalker in Rise of Skywalker. Or not Rise of Skywalker, in Last Jedi. Luke says very famously in that movie, it's time for the Jedi to end. And I very much agree that the way that the Jedi were, and he says this part to Rey. He says at the height of their powers, they let, Emperor Palpatine take over and destroy them from within. It's time for that version of the Jedi to end. The version where Krell is in charge, think that he's going to be one of the next rulers, and casually tosses life away. The one where Mace and Yoda and Ki-Adi-Mundi and Plo Koon can't figure out who the heck the Chancellor literally right in front of them is the Sith Lord, who enables Anakin to remove himself from the Jedi path and become this powerful force for evil. That Jedi Order, the hubris and the lack of direction towards the light side, absolutely should stop. So I don't disagree with that. I disagree with the messaging that Luke has, where it's like, it's time for the Jedi to end. Wait. That version of the Jedi, absolutely. Luke, I am in total agreement with you, but not the whole Jedi Order.
No. He's being a little exaggerative.
But he's Luke. He's been dramatic his whole life.
Exactly. He's, we'll get to him eventually. One day, we'll have a conversation about Luke Skywalker and his whiny attitude. But he does make a good half point of, there is this whole section, and basically there was a golden age of Jedi where things actually ran as they should, but they were forced into this situation where they needed to fight a war that they were not prepared to fight. Jedi were not meant to fight a war. They were not meant to be generals. They were not meant to do all of this. They're supposed to be peacekeepers. And that's something that we see throughout Clone Wars is individual Jedi warring with that within themselves, within each other. Obi is very much on the side of, no, we're supposed to be peacekeepers. And then you get Satine on the very far side of that going, well, a peacekeeper isn't even going to fight, period. Why are you fighting? And then you also get Anakin on the other side going, we're not doing enough. So
we actually have to squash the only way that we keep peace is by murdering them completely and also get rid of all the red tape. And that's definitely not the definition of fascism.
No, definitely not. But it's what he's known.
Yeah.
So it's a difficult situation for all of them involved, and it unfortunately just causes the Jedi Order, as it should be running, to completely crumble.
Absolutely.
So during the Krell arc, we actually start getting a little bit of hints on the next big mystery, which is, as I like to call it, the Tup arc, because we are introduced to Tup within the Krell arc, and now he has his own arc, which is essentially how the Jedi almost discovered Order 66 and completely forgot to follow up on it. So the big mystery begins, and it just kills you because they don't figure it out because Order 66 happens. So Order 66 is shown to be this programmed thing in all of the clones. It's not some sort of training. It's not them following orders blindly. It is something that is implanted in them, and they have no choice in the matter. We have thoughts on this, but I'm going to keep going and we'll circle back. So Tup is a clone who, during a battle, turns on a Jedi. He has some sort of a malfunction or a virus, they potentially think, that has caused him to turn on one of his Jedi generals and kill her. This sparks an entire investigation into why this has happened. And he's brought back to Kamino, and Shaak Ti, who is one of the Jedi in charge of the clones on Kamino, blindly trusts the Kaminoans' explanation of what is going on, that it's some sort of virus, and this is a one-off situation, it'll never happen again, and we better exterminate him lest he give the virus to everyone else, especially Fives, who was with him, therefore he probably is infected as well.
We wouldn't want the Jedi all killed by clones, would we now?
Yes, we would not want
spread your virus.
Exactly. So Fives is going, there's something else going on here. He's not dying of some sort of virus. There's no virus. I'm not infected I'm not infected by anything. Tup isn't infected by anything. There is something wrong in his brain. And Shaak Ti is just going, no, that can't possibly be it, because the Kaminoans said no. And then this continues, because Yoda is completely trusting as well.
Yeah.
And is just going, oh, well, this is exactly how we have to do it, and this is all the procedure that we have to follow, and we'll just do that. Meanwhile, Fives is having to conduct his investigation into what has gone on with Tup. He figures it out. He finds the chip. And then again, the Kaminoans are going, oh, well, this is what that chip's for. It's no big deal. And then they just believe them again. And it's just kills me, because then we also bounce back to Palpatine, who is as good as wringing his hands together, cackling maniacally, and yet no one's picking up on it.
He tells his whole plan to Fives.
He does. He tells him everything, and nobody thinks to look twice. And we love Fives, and we don't want him in danger, but Tup and Fives basically are like sacrificed for this plot that never truly comes to fruition, because it can't, because this is part of the plot of the prequel trilogy, and we can't give it away now. And so the whole thing is just working up to, well, what's going to happen? Well, I know what's going to happen. This isn't nothing. And it's so frustrating, because we know there's a chip. We know it's implanted. We know that the clones were created in conjunction with Dooku's instructions.
Right, they find that out. They find out Dooku is the one who one of the instructed
Exactly.
this.
And then they just aren't gonna double back on that ever.
Listen, there's a whole thing with Yoda's thing as well, where it's like, wait, you guys had literally all the pieces. Also, Obi-Wan, and Dooku says this to Obi-Wan. Dooku's like, I told you everything you needed to know back on Geonosis. Like, yeah, you kind of did. And Obi-Wan is
No, he does.
Obi-Wan's just too led by the Jedi Council to have anything happen. It's so frustrating. Okay, so let's wheel it back for a second. So right at the beginning of this, the main thing that we find out is that Order 66 is programmed. It is a chip implanted into the brains of clones that will physically force them, unless they remove the chip, which will come up later. It physically forces them to obey the order to kill all Jedi.
Mm-hmm.
I, as I posted on TikTok several weeks ago, it was today. But you don't know that. I hate this. I feel very similarly about this as I do Maul returning, which is, I hate this, but what they do with it, I think is good. Do I wish it happened in the first place? No. Am I glad about the outcome? Sure. But I think that ultimately George Lucas is not a big fan of the U.S. military industrial complex. I think he supports troops like any good-hearted individual, where he's like, individual people, yes, I support them, but I don't support the means and methods of politics to remove freedoms from people around the globe. One of the things, and that's very clear in A New Hope, right? That is a parallel between the Viet Cong and the U.S. military-industrial complex of the Vietnam War, which he was bigly against and wrote a movie during the end of that war that became Star Wars. I hate this because I think that this takes away from the punchiness of the initial message of Revenge of the Sith, which is when you condition soldiers to follow orders without question, they become a tool for great evil if given into the wrong hands. So that conditioning soldiers without a morality to just blindly follow orders is not a good idea. Is essentially the main message of the Order 66 moment. And that initial meaning and messaging is lost when you input this. Now, I understand why Filoni does it. He spends 6 seasons building up these wonderful relationships with Cody and Rex and Fives and the loyalty that they have with Obi and Anakin and the camaraderie that they have with each other. And they by doing so, they create a plot hole. The plot, I've seen a lot of online discourse that people are like, yeah, there was this plot hole and they fix it. The plot hole is created by this show.
Right.
And then they fix it, which, okay, great. That's fine. I understand why you'd want to do that. And also, obviously, the U.S. military, those who are Star Wars fans, really love the clones. And I think it would have been really hard to swallow that pill after the show, just being like, no, they're just following orders. But I do loathe to lose that initial messaging.
So I have different opinions on this, mainly because when I watched Revenge of the Sith, before having seen Clone Wars, I already had that idea in my head of this must have been something programmed. So I never was of the kind of mindset that they're just so highly trained to follow orders that they will follow any order. And I think where that really comes in for me is the immediacy with which all of the clones turn. So there's no hesitation in any of them. There's no moment of, is that really the order that just came through? There's no anything. So in my mind, when watching, it was clear to me, which clearly it shouldn't have been because that was not the initial plot point. But to me, it came across that, yes, these engineered individuals were programmed with this kind of secret hidden directive. Maybe I've seen too many robot movies, whatever the case may be, but there's a secret hidden directive going on that even the clones themselves don't know about. And so when they're given the order, it immediately triggers that thing.
Yeah.
So that they have to respond. And so whether that was a brainwashing thing or an actual physical chip that was implanted, like they say in Clone Wars, I hadn't fully, processed whatever that was, but there was some sort of a programming that caused this to happen. And it was not just highly trained.
So I want to be clear here, and we are parsing hairs a little bit here. I do think that soldier conditioning, and there is psychological academic literature about like how close what we do in the military and brainwashing are in terms of the training that happens. And some would argue that some of the conditioning that happens with soldiers, especially at higher levels, is brainwashing. I'm not one of them. But I do want to be clear that I do think the clones are brainwashed into following Order 66. But I think that the brainwashing part of it, rather than the actual physical limiter, is where it loses the messaging for me. I like Cody is chumming it up with Obi-Wan, and then he's like, Order 66, boom, I'm gonna kill you. I think that that's clearly brainwashing, and I think that is an illusion, a more dramatic illusion, but an illusion to how Lucas feels about what we do in the military. Mm-hmm. I just think that as soon as you make it physical, where it is a chip in the brain, I do think that takes away the courage of that initial messaging by sort of having a cop-out with, well, they were forced to, instead of being like, no, they've been so highly conditioned, engineered into this. And that difference between it being psychological versus physical is where that I get unhappy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, you said, we're kind of parsing. For me, at that level, it's the same thing. There might as well be an actual physical chip in there if you are so conditioned to one specific, as I said, like hidden directive, basically. Because if you have those, it's like sleeper agents, essentially.
Yeah.
So, you hear the code word and immediately all of the training kicks in, right, and all of the whatever you're supposed to do or whatever that is. And I feel that on that level, it almost doesn't matter. There's no real difference from I get that the messaging is slightly different.
Yeah.
But in terms of like the actual plot and the characters and everything, I feel like from their standpoint within the world, it's essentially the same.
I don't disagree with that. I think the impact on the screen is essentially the same. Whether there's a chip in their brain or whether or not they've been conditioned. But the problem that I'm having is that I'm discussing the overall real world, like, thematic messaging of this movie, which this moment is so powerful to me because it is a commentary on when soldiers follow orders. And that's sort of where it's lost by putting the chip in the brain.
Gotcha. That makes sense. Well, we get this wrapped up in kind of this really heartbreaking quote by Tup, and I believe Fives as well, kind of mimics it as at the same time. The mission, the nightmare, they're finally over. And it's a very interesting because this is a nightmare to them. The mission that they do not want to complete.
Yeah.
To kill the Jedi.
Yeah.
And this nightmare of being forced to fight those that they care about and that they have grown to respect and cherish. And it's finally over. But then also the mission of this war, the mission that they've been set to for their entire lives, the nightmare of war, the nightmare of having to constantly live in fear and fight. It's finally all over.
Yeah.
In death, which is the only way out that 99% of the clones get. So upsetting.
It's a toughie. It's a doozy.
Clones so much.
So then we move to Maul. Maul returns in this selection of seasons. So this all starts off with Dooku being kind of voluntold by Palpatine, go kill your little side project there. And he's like, I have a mistress, not an apprentice. And he's like, no, you have an apprentice. That's way worse. And he's like, okay. So Dooku goes and sets this trap up for Ventress. She falls to the trap, but she is not killed. And so she flees back to the only place that she kind of maybe has ever known, Dathomir, which is the home of one Darth Maul at one point. So the Dathomirians are set up in the Dathomites, the Dathomons, the Dathomaids, I don't know what their names are. They're set up in a matriarchal society. They're the Night Sisters, which are this maybe Force users. It's kind of unclear. In the old canon, they were Force users. In this new canon, it's bit of hocus pocus, bit of wibbly wobbly magical stuff in the science fiction world. Anyways, they're a matriarchal society. So she goes back, Ventress does, meets the Night Sisters, and eventually picks up her own apprentice to get revenge on Dooku, because apparently that's all Sith can do is get revenge. We get to meet Savage Opress, who is, you didn't guess it, Maul's brother, because that is a thing that they've decided to tell us about. Ventress trains up Opress. They go after Dooku, who's in exquisite pajamas when they attack. One of the best skins on Battlefront 2. And what happens is Opress eventually leaves Ventress because he finds out his brother, Maul, is still alive. Now, this was controversial at the time. This is less controversial today, but I will say what I said for Order 66 change. I hate that this happened. And I love what they did with it.
Yes.
The reason why I hate what's happened is the same reason why I hate any of the did they die, did they not die stuff in Avengers MCU world. Because in Avengers, the MCU, death at one point just didn't matter. It was like, oh no, actually this character did live. What was the guy from Avengers that got stabbed by Loki in the heart? And then he actually lived, and he was on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. for like 7 seasons. But they use his death as the catalyst to bring them all together. It was...
Yeah, exactly.
It was just... And then death suddenly didn't matter. And then they made a whole movie about how death didn't matter, because everybody dies at the end, and then they come back. Spoilers for Avengers, which came out like 10 years ago at this point. Death in Star Wars matters.
Yes.
And did. It mattered for a long, long time. Obi-Wan dies, and he actually dies. There's still a Force Ghost, so he can still talk to him, but he's dead. He cannot physically come and do things, although Rise of Skywalker has Yoda control some lightning, and that's very confusing. But Obi-Wan dies, and then Darth Vader dies, and Palpatine dies, and Maul dies, and Qui-Gon dies, and people die, and they stay dead. Even though there's some just sort of like metaphysical discussion, but that doesn't bother me. It's Maul died. He was gone, and then they brought him back. Now, this is a Lucas idea, and I still have giant qualms with it because it just starts to be like, okay, so then who else survived? Oh, Palpatine, it turns out. And that's where I get really, well, and I'll say this very quickly. There is, in old legend stuff, there are some really good stories about Palpatine attempting to bring back clones of himself. But it's a whole story dedicated to that. So Rise of Skywalker's ending is like a finale to a movie series they didn't actually create. And now they're trying to explain it away. You'll see when you watch The Mandalorian and stuff. There are like bits and pieces as to how cloning is going on and what they need midichlorian blood for, etc., etc. But this idea of death not mattering is a killer, in my opinion, to big franchises. And so when I like seriously was out on Clone Wars when they brought back Maul, I didn't watch anymore until like 6 years later.
That's so funny. I had an maybe not opposite reaction, but I do agree. I think that in a series, if you're not going to have death mean anything, there's no stakes, and it really lowers any fight that I watch now in, you know, some big franchise. I just go, well, everybody's going to be fine. And, you know, even if it looks like they're going to die, it's fine. They'll come back. It's like there's no real stakes anymore.
Well, and then there are big questions around when characters do stay dead. And it's like, but like, why?
Yeah.
Oh, is it contract reasons? And then it starts to be a real life, and it's just a big...
I'm sorry. Yeah. I'm sorry. Ben Solo is dead because there's legitimate reasons that he could come back, but we're not going to get into those.
Did you know that Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru are still alive?
Well, I think what it really leads to is like, did we see a body? But then even then, there's ways to explain it away. So yes, I do have an issue with that. However, if they're going to bring back a character, I do like that they chose someone who is not vital enough to the plot.
Yeah.
To really impact things or change things or rewrite or to pull a Palpatine. They pulled someone back who can really operate in the shadows, who was interesting, who we didn't get really enough backstory on in general. We didn't know enough about him. Now we get to see more about who he is, where he came from, what his family situation, growing up, all of those things were like.
Yeah. And
I think that that's interesting because it's almost like they brought him back to world build, which I can appreciate. They didn't bring him back to change the plot. So yes, I agree with you. I didn't hate that they brought him back. I was disappointed that they brought back someone who should have been dead.
Yeah.
Because then it's like, okay, well, if you get chopped in half and you fall down a shaft, then you're still going to be alive. So like, where's Mace? But
where is Mace? Because they did this, I'm the biggest proponent of Mace should be alive.
Mace is alive.
Because we actually saw Maul chopped in half and falling down. Like, we did see a body. With Mace, all we saw was him get hands chopped and then electrocuted out a window.
Right.
You see the Force, does the Force still not work with your little nubbins? I'm pretty sure it does.
No, but Sam, you need to use two hands.
Well done. So what I'm saying is that we've got two things out there from Wednesday walking around with Force powers. Good.
I love it.
Good. Love it.
But I do agree. What they did with Maul, amazing.
Super dope. And also, I'm like, I don't know that I necessarily need a second Han Solo movie, but the fact that Maul is in charge of Crimson Dawn and is like this puppeteer of the underworld, I want more Emilia Clarke, Ray Parker with Sam's voice. I can't remember his last name.
Whitwer.
Thank you. I want more. I want that in film. I want more of that. That sounds cool.
That sounds very cool. I love that now, after everything that's happened, we are getting 3-dimensional Ventress.
Yeah.
She has morals. Shady morals, but she has some. She knows what is right to her, and she acts on it. And unlike all the other Sith and everybody out there, she isn't purely driven by hate or revenge. And while she kind of hates Obi-Wan, and they have their tete-a-tetes and everything, she teams up with him to fight Savage and Maul, because Maul is just hell-bent on his revenge with Obi-Wan. And
all the memes, all the memes, all the gifts.
So good. Yes.
Kenobi!
But this fight is so good.
It is. It's an excellent fight.
4 very distinct styles that you get to see, and it's in such close quarters. Fascinating to watch. And it also, because this fight is so good, and Ventress and Obi-Wan do not defeat Savage and Maul, it really bothers me then that Kenobi then goes to fight Maul again, and again brings one Jedi to go fight Maul and Savage, when he and Ventress, who he knows is a very good fighter and Force user, even though she's not, you know, a Jedi or anything, he knows she's really good, and yet he brings just, again, one Jedi with him.
I will say the advanced analytics on Ventress's abilities are quite low. She is the Russell Westbrook of, like, volume shooting scoring, but not particularly effective. She has not yet once gotten the job done. And so I think that Obi-Wan not winning against Maul and Oppress, he's looking over his side-eyeing Ventress being like, weak link. All right, I just gotta bring, like, I don't know, who's available? You random Jedi? Let's go. Come on. Anything's better than Ventress.
But also, anything is not better than Ventress, because at least Ventress made it out alive.
Yeah, that's so true. Oh, man. Yeah, I enjoy getting three-dimensional Ventress. That is good. And getting a lot more about Dathomir. They've clearly done a good job of trying to set that up. Maul very quickly gathers forces when his brother joins him and helps him get out of his sanity, and no longer has spider robot legs, just has regular bionic legs. He recruits pirates. He starts getting people in the underworld. And before you know it, he has found out some information that leads him to take over Mandalore. What is this information, you think? Well, there's a group on Mandalore called Death Watch. There are these old school Mandos that don't like Satine, the Duchess of Mandalore, who is like the most extreme pacifist. Who likes Satine? Said ruler of Mandalore. Obi will be longing for Satine. And you know who hates Obi? Maul. So the enemy of my enemy's governor, lover, friend person thing is my friend in this case.
Yes, definitely very big enemy of my enemy vibes from Maul here, just taking anybody he can get at this point. However, his plot...
super good.
To take over Mandalore. Genius.
Yeah, really good.
Absolutely genius.
Yeah.
He pits every person so perfectly against each other in a way that will get him at first, well, I mean, essentially shadow ruling over Mandalore.
Yeah.
And nobody's any the wiser until
Maul lures Obi-Wan Kenobi into a trap, and Admiral Akbar isn't there to tell him, so nobody knows.
He's still Captain Akbar, so...
It's okay. It only happens with the alliteration. Once the alliteration kicks in, his mind does that, like, meme with the advanced math. So, a lot of this trap is not very cool. It leads to some pretty heinous stuff, but what it does lead to is Obi-Wan Kenobi wearing, like, Maul kind of makes the Mandalorians put on his skin tones. He's like, you will all be black and red now. You will all cosplay as me in your Mandalorian armor. Which is dope, but also not so dope. But it's really dope when Obi-Wan has to wear it. So Obi gets to dress up in this Mandalorian worshipping Darth Maul armor, which is super cool.
Yeah. So that is super cool. And then what is super cool but also cracks me up is that the Death Watch uses what I dub the droid deployment system to drop in their fighting. The droid deployment system is when these shuttles, essentially, of droids show up, and they're all strapped in kind of under their armpits of what a robot's armpit would be, and then they just drop them all down, and, you know, they start marching out, and they're already in line and everything. So the Death Watch essentially use the exact same thing and just, like, deploy. And when I watch that, I just go, the droid deployment system.
I learned it from watching you. Maul lures Obi-Wan because he has Satine as bait, essentially. Maul also has the Darksaber, which he took from pre-Vizsla.
Not post-Vizsla, though.
That's a stupid joke, and I love you for it. So he uses this Darksaber on Satine. He stabs her straight in the same place that he stabbed Qui-Gon, which I think is an awesome little shout-out to Phantom Menace. Like, looks him in the eyes, Satine dies, or she falls on the ground, Obi-Wan goes to her, she's like, I've always loved you, and basically says everything but, we have a child, because she can't say that in front of Maul. And cue Rey's initial lineage, and then that got all messed up. But Obi-Wan is able to escape all of this, but he doesn't manage to kill Maul or oppress. And he escapes with Satine's sister, Bo-Katan. Just remember that for the future listeners, because Bo-Katan will be a major character in a couple of different TV shows. You know who does come and kill oppress? Palpatine. Because like a shark in the water with blood, he goes, oh, there's some dark side people that have become a problem, and just like drives to Mandalore.
Okay, I'm sorry. I just say, Palp, you fly officially as Emperor Palpatine, as Chancellor Palpatine, officially flying to Mandalore. You challenge someone who's operating absolutely nowhere near anything that you're doing. You already know you can defeat him. It just seems like such a huge risk for something so small and unimportant, like, in his big scheme of things. And it just, Sith are so bonkers.
You have become a rival. Kills the press. Like,
right.
What?
Yeah, you're the rival, sure.
Sure.
The apprentice of the apprentice of the apprentice is your rival. Mm-hmm.
This is the definition of a phantom apprentice. He is not a threat. He's
no,
a ghost.
Not at all. Yes. And it bothers me because I really weirdly like Savage a lot as a character.
You're a big sucker for a guy who goes, hello.
No. I'm a big sucker for, like, a character who's, like, constantly challenged and, like, he just has such a rough life. Like,
yeah, it does.
It's not great. Then he ends up having to, like, kill his brother in order to, like, prove himself to Ventress. But then he ends up ditching Ventress. But then Maul doesn't really treat him like a brother, even though he should. It's, yo, you're my apprentice.
Yeah,
you're not my brother.
His skull.
Right. And it's just, he tries so hard, and he was trying really hard to be Dooku's apprentice. But then he, you know, does the whole betrayal with Ventress. But then Ventress doesn't really want him anyway either. It's like, he cannot win. But him and Maul's interactions are very interesting to me, so I think that that's really why, and I think Maul is so fascinating, and so by proxy, Savage is very interesting.
So I think it's really cool what they do with Maul in this whole little arc with both Oppress and him being the ruler, and him also, like, big brothering Oppress the whole time as well. This will come into play in Rebels. You see a lot of this side of sort of, like, big brother energy from Maul with a certain other character, and it is that and his, like, actual pretty good scheming. I think are the two main takeaways if you're like prepping for Maul the show. There's some really good character things to take away from this. He can be weirdly charming. He's incredibly smart. He can be really tempting to the characters around him, and he's conniving as anybody. And I think that makes him really this awesome phantom in the shadows, in the background. And also, his voice acting is incredible, so there's that,
That's also very true. A huge factor.
But we leave Maul before we get to our Order 66 time on Mandalore, just defeated by Palpatine, left alive, but his brother's dead. Now, we're going to get to all of our Order 66 dealios right after we do our Revenge of the Sith episode. So we're going to talk about all the congruent information. So what's going on with Ahsoka and Obi-Wan and Maul and Rex and such during Order 66, right after we actually cover Revenge of the Sith. So be on the lookout for that mini episode. We are going to talk about Mandalore. We're going to talk about the amazing scene between Ahsoka and Maul. We're going to talk about the incredible fight between them. But check us out in 2 episodes, y'all. 2 episodes. Lastly, we've got Yoda, which is a wildly incredible, important storyline that I feel like gets slept on a lot.
Yeah, we get these kind of last 3 episodes just tossed in at the end of season 6.
Which by the way, is the season that Disney was like, we bought the merger happened and they were like, no more. And so this is how the show ended.
Right. So this is how everything ended. And it's very important and also confusing to me.
Super confusing.
As a person who, you know, when watching this, had not fully dived deep into, okay, what does everybody know and what does everybody not know? And when you're coming from having seen the original movies, Force ghosts are real.
Right.
And so you kind of just take them as a fact. And so then going back to this and Yoda saying, this can't be possible, you're dead. I'm going, really? Nobody
to Qui-Gon
believes
specifically. Qui-Gon has appeared. Yeah.
Yes. You're dead, Qui-Gon. How can you possibly be here? This doesn't make any sense. This is impossible. And I'm just going, considering that of the people involved in the plot of this whole Force Ghost situation, 3 of them become Force Ghosts.
Obi-Wan.
Obi-Wan. Yoda. And Anakin.
And Anakin.
All become Force Ghosts.
And Anakin does it in like 2 seconds. It takes Anakin, like Obi-Wan doesn't physically appear until like 3 years after the Battle of Yavin.
Right.
Like, Anakin is like, hey, I died 6 seconds ago. Force God let me go to heaven even though I killed a bunch of kids. And now here I am.
I'm good, guys. It's all good. So it's just wild because we go from nobody thinks that this is real or possible or even in the realm of credibility to all of these people becoming Force ghosts.
This is the third.
Within like 5 years. Not even.
Yeah, exactly.
3 years?
So this is the third thing. No, because it's like 25 years.
It's longer than that.
Yeah, it's 25 years.
Okay, within 3 movies.
Within 3 movies, yes. This is the third thing that I hate about the show, that I still like what they did with it. So, this idea that Yoda's been around for 800 plus years. So, in all of that time, no one's become a Force Ghost.
Ridiculous.
Qui-Gon's the, like, highest thinker who essentially ascended first. Like, he's Wizard Jesus.
No.
Like, he's Wizard Space Jesus.
I love Qui-Gon. No.
He is absolutely doing a really cool job of being like, hey, Force first type of dude.
Right.
But the only person in 800 years, look as good you will not, Qui-Gon? Like, I can't stand that, like, this just kind of happens to be when Force Ghost becomes a thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's what Clone Wars does. It establishes this just happens to be when this occurs. At the end of Revenge of the Sith, when Obi-Wan comes in, and Yoda's like, much training you have to do, you know? And that's a terrible Yoda voice. But when he says that, and he's like, oh, I can talk to Master Qui-Gon, that's cool. I'm like, oh, Yoda's teaching him an old technique that he hasn't learned yet, because he's still fairly young for a Jedi. Here we go. Like, this will be cool.
Right.
Not, we are giving you the path to immortality right now, Yoda. Like, this is great. So, the big point of this arc is Yoda goes to Dagobah because Qui-Gon tells him to go there. And he is learning the path to immortality. about being a Force ghost, right? That's what's getting him there, which is not a thing that's happened yet. But also, during that time, he sees a bunch of different stuff, including little baby Shadow Yoda.
Yeah. Very Gollum coded.
Also, he brings R2.
Okay, and then tells him to stay with the ship. R2 doesn't like staying with the ship, you guys. Stop making him stay with the ship.
He doesn't not like it yet.
No, it hasn't happened yet, but he's already uncomfortable, you can tell.
Yes, that's true.
I don't know about this.
It's bizarre. It's bizarre. Anyways, the big piece of information that I have here that I think we glean out of this is that Yoda is clued into the entire Order 66. He sees the Jedi finding the clone troopers. He sees Sidious, and he sees that Sidious's chin is the exact same as Chancellor Palpatine.
Eye roll.
He sees the attack from the Chancellor on other Jedis. Now, he doesn't know where the setting is, but that is in the Chancellor's chamber. He sees that specific attack. He sees this little twirl move that opens it up. And he sees that Anakin is at the center of all of this. That Sidious wants Anakin. So he knows all of this is coming. And he can sense it, because he knows the war's coming to an end soon. He says that to Mace and Obi-Wan. What does he do with this information?
Nothing.
Diddly squat. So, like...
Frickin' nothing.
He didn't kill the younglings that Anakin killed. But he is good as. Like, he is really culpable. He shows up after learning all this information, and Mace and Obi-Wan come over and they're like, so anything cool happen? And he looks at them dead in the face and goes, nah. He does start to focus on the Force a lot more, which is, I'm like, oh cool, we're getting back to that. But it drives him into being this weird grumpy old man that doesn't want to train anybody and just wants to ascend. He like becomes the most selfish Jedi on the planet.
It's very silly. It bothers me a lot. Yoda, I mean, we've talked before about Yoda's blindsidedness when it comes to a lot of things. And it continues here. And I think that this is just yet another example of, you've been given all this very important information. And I guess the only reason that I can excuse it is that perhaps it's kind of like a prophecy situation where if you try to stop it from happening, it'll make it happen.
Right.
And that's something that he's maybe concerned about. But the fact that he doesn't even like take any extra precautions or keep an extra close eye on Anakin or anything. He doesn't. Oh, remember how that one clone trooper killed that one Jedi?
Ding dong.
Maybe we should revisit that. Oh, who was involved in that? Palpatine? Who did I see under that cloak? Someone that looked an awful lot like Palpatine, especially when he was going, mwah ha 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 ha, I got the chip. Like,
how do you guys not know that Palpatine is the Sith Lord at this point?
Okay, I'm sorry. It bothers me so much. Palpatine is so powerful that he can force choke you through hologram from billions of miles away. And yet Yoda can't sense the dark side pouring out of his every pore and orifice while standing 5 feet in front of him. No.
In Legends, this is one of my favorite little factoids. In Legends, when Palpatine is training, I think it's Lord Tyrannus, when he's training Dooku, but it might have been Maul. I'm not really sure which one. They like go to the steps of the Jedi Temple, and the narration of the apprentice is like, Master says that as long as we don't get in, we won't be discovered. And I'm like, you guys just ripped that off from the Legends of the Christian Church, like where sinners burst into flame as soon as they enter the church. Like, what?
Oh my gosh. They're like vampires who can't enter
you can't enter
hallowed ground or something.
It's silliness. This whole thing of hey, Mace, you can't see where the fog's coming from because you're in the fog. Like, you're just in it.
Yeah.
Like, you don't know where it's coming from because you're
in the room with us.
Yeah, exactly. You just are in basically Palpatine all the time. You're just surrounded by his aura. Anyways.
Surrounded Palpatine's aura. That's like a song title.
Yeah, for real. Good band name. I call it.
There you
New
go.
Band name. I call it. So the one message that Yoda does come back with is he says he's no longer certain the war can be won. That there's been too much death, too much destruction, too much loss. The Jedi essentially have lost their way is the subtext there. And Mace specifically kind of looks pissed about this. Obi-Wan looks contemplative, and Mace is kind of like, what the heck have we been doing all this for then? And then he's like, I think it's kind of cheap that Yoda's like, war. Let's just focus on the Force and immortality. You started this. You're the one who went and got the clones of Kamino and came and rescued Obi-Wan and Anakin and Padme.
Mm-hmm.
Like, maybe finish. And then he's like, when he's on Kashyyyk and Order 66 starts, he's like, oh my god, it's happening. When Dooku says the problem with the Jedi is Yoda, I'm like, yeah.
He's not wrong.
He's not wrong.
He's not wrong.
Well, we've gone over so much that we are skipping many different categories today because we wanted to get all of this information to you, but we could not but help to keep our favorite little category in here. Sierra?
Keep your horses safe.
Keep them safe!
It's the I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse category for best lines. Some of these are going to come out of nowhere because they are lines from things that we did not cover in this episode, but they're too great not to share. So, it begins. Grievous says, "How does it feel to die?" And the Gungan general replies, "Not die. Sacrifice." It's pretty good. I like that one a lot. This one cracks me up. "That's Cad Bane. How do you know? Who else would wear a hat like that?"
I do love that arc. Obi's little arc. It's so
arc.
good.
It is very, very good. A very fitting Anakin line. "How many other lies have I been told by the council?" Many, Anakin. That's many.
It turns out actually a lot.
Turns out, again, you're not wrong.
Anakin to Palpatine says, "As long as I live, no harm will ever come to you, Your Excellency." Great bit of irony there. Good job, Clone Wars writers. Can we just make him say the opposite of what happens? Yes, we can, It turns out.
Yes. As it turns out.
Fan favorite and Sam favorite Hondo Onaka. "I may be a pirate, but I do not like taking children into battle." Which is not his accent at all, but I'm standing by it.
It's close.
All right, thanks. I appreciate it.
This lovely line comes from Whack, a droid in D-Squad. I will die for D-Squad. Wow, they really went overboard with the welcoming committee. Guys, sometimes I just put in lines because they make me laugh, and I'm gonna make myself laugh even if nobody else appreciates it. Savage's dying words. "I am an unworthy apprentice. I am not like you. Never was."
The irony in those words when he's like, "Bud, my master doesn't like me so much that he came and killed you." Like, I'm the most unworthy of apprentices. What are you talking about?
Yes. Very impactful. "There are going to be Jedi who disappoint us, Ahsoka. But as long as we know there are good Jedi who fight for what's right, it makes it worthwhile."
Dun dun dun.
Cue shortly after Imperial March theme.
Bam, 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 bam. I understand more than you. This is Anakin to Ahsoka when she's contemplating leaving the Jedi Order. He says, "I understand more than you realize. I understand wanting to walk away from the Order," which is real hard. It hits real hard.
There's another one similar to that where he alludes to the fact that he understands that things aren't the best and that he kind of wants to leave, and she says she knows, and I'm like, please elaborate. You guys talk to each other. You guys are so close. "Disobeying the council your expertise is. That is why I ask for your help. It is the spontaneity you find so easily which others do not. That is what sets you apart. Yoda to Anakin when he's asking Anakin to help sequester him from the planet so he can go off on his journey. But I think it's one of the only good things that Yoda says to Anakin. It's the closest he comes to a compliment.
Yeah.
That your expertise is not listening to us. And I'm going to ask...
Yeah. Flash forward to Anakin, like, stabbing children and killing them. But sure.
Yeah. NBD.
This is a Maul line. It's when he's got Satine in prison and Obi-Wan is being marched up to him. Your noble flaw is a weakness shared by you and your Duchess. And then he just starts force choking Satine. It's a really crazy power play. I could quote Maul all day.
All day. He has so many good.
Hoping for Kenobi. What are you doing here? Anyways, love Maul.
Fantastic. Today's public service announcement. Follow up for the love of goodness. If there is a plot afoot, please keep looking into it. As you continue to get hints about it, just, put someone on it.
One person. Just one person on it.
One guy.
It's only one more than you've done, which is nothing. You can spare one guy.
Please? One person. This is kind of a big deal. If this is real. Guys.
Even if it's just Watto. Like, you went and got Watto off of Tatooine. Like, just let him look at the brain chip.
You know what? Who should be in charge of this is D-Squad.
I think it should be R2.
Okay, but he's part of D-Squad.
Kind of. Oh, the Droid Squad! Of course he is!
Yes.
I had a brain fart. Sorry, excuse me. Yes, D-Squad should absolutely be part of this. God, I love D-Squad.
Yes. D-Squad should be looking into Order 66 situation.
I take it back. Who's the MVP of this entire Clone Wars show? It's D-Squad.
It's D-Squad.
It's D. Bradley Baker and D-Squad. The Ds.
Yes. Well, if we're doing that and you're adding in D. Bradley Baker, we might have to add in David Tennant. I mean...
That's true. The triple
Although
Ds.
he doesn't have much, but he did...
But he won an Emmy for what he did.
He won an Emmy. That's huge. Well... Thank you, dear listener schmisteners, for hanging in with us and listening to this episode of Fandom Schmandom. If you'd like to discuss this episode or any other episode we've done, please hit us up on our social media channels. You can find us on TikTok and Instagram at Fandom Schmandom Pod. And you can also continue to our Patreon, which we mentioned F4, that is just now up, and that is patreon.com/CW/fandomschmandom.
Please don't forget to rate and review us if you liked the episode. It really helps the algorithm place us in front of other like-minded schmissioners out there. And with that, we're out, y'all.
Don't forget to tip your apprentices.
And fare thee well.
Fandom Schmandom was created by Sam Williams and Sierra Obermark. The show is produced by Aurelia Lieb. The editor is Brittany Fisher. The music is by Jeremiah Alves.
I said today's. Here we go. Today's episode, we will be... How now, brown cow? Let me practice my linguistics for this moment. Seashells by the seashells of the seashore. That's not how you say that rhyme at all. It's good. Here we go.
Thing that happens during these episodes. Nah, I'm going to start that over. Sorry. That's...
Say arc, not thing.
Yeah. Okay.
Give me a second. My phone is dying.
Da, da, da.
Oh no, Sierra. I have to change up my whole camera situation.
Oh no, that's not good.
Oh no. Oh god. There's a place I know. They want to go back to the old Mandalorian warring ways. Who's in their way? The Duchess, the ruler of Mandalore, Satine. Do you know who really likes Satine? Obi, what's my joke here? Oh yeah, no one's gonna get this because nobody just remembers Lake Wobegon from NPR back in the day. On Satine stabs her right where he stabbed Obi-Wan Kenobi, which is an awesome little shout out to the franchise. There, he stabs her right. Yeah, he stabs her right in the gut, in the exact same place.
Qui-Gon.
Everything in my life
I also have
now.
a joke. You should definitely say he takes it from Pre Vizsla because I'm going to make a joke.
What's his name? Kree Vizsla?
Pre
Vizsla?
Pre Vizsla.
Okay, let me restart this. Sorry, Britt, this has been a very... Put us in... Oh, yeah.
We're getting back into our rhythm here.
Really, it's been 2 months, I think, since we've recorded.
Yeah.
Forget to rate us not. Please don't. If you liked the episode... It's really... Nope, I that's it. I'm done. I can't do it.
You went Elmo.
I did. I really did. Well, that'll be an excellent blooper. You're welcome.